we at Meta, as well as the other companies that are basically working on this, are going to have an AI that can effectively be a sort of mid-level engineer that you have at your company that can write code.
Did you hear that? By 2025, AI won't just assist coders, it will be a coder. Meta is developing AI that can act like a mid-level engineer, capable of writing solid, efficient code. I've linked that video in the description, along with the full conversation with Mark Zuckerberg, so you can dive deeper if you want. But here's the real question. What does this mean for human engineers? Will this usher in a golden age of innovation? Or are we looking at the end of traditional coding jobs as we know them? In the previous video, we also heard Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, discuss how Microsoft plans to replace traditional software with AI agents in the near future. And now, we've got Mark Zuckerberg adding to the conversation with this groundbreaking announcement.
Probably in 2025, we at Meta, as well as the other companies that are basically working on this, are going to have an AI that can effectively be a sort of mid-level engineer that you have at your company that can write code. And once you have that, then in the beginning it'll be really expensive to run, and then you can get it to be more efficient. And then over time we'll get to the point where a lot of the code in our apps and including the AI that we generate is actually going to be built by AI engineers instead of people engineers.
So Zuckerberg is saying that by 2025, Meta will have AI systems capable of taking on tasks typically done by mid-level engineers. These aren't just tools to assist coders. They're effectively becoming coders themselves, writing a significant portion of the code for Meta's apps, and even for the AI that Meta creates. It's not a distant vision. This is happening now, and it's a monumental shift in how software is developed. This raises some pretty big questions. Entry-level coding jobs, which have been the foundation for so many careers in tech, could start to disappear. Think about it. If AI is handling the repetitive, foundational work, where do new engineers go to learn and grow? Those entry-level roles are where people gain real-world experience and develop the skills needed to advance in their careers. If those opportunities vanish, the pathway into the tech industry could become much narrower, leaving many talented individuals without a way in. For those already established in the field, the role of an engineer is going to evolve. It's no longer just about writing code, it's about managing, guiding, and collaborating with AI systems. Engineers will need to understand how to work alongside AI, refining its output, debugging its code, and ensuring it aligns with broader project goals. It's a completely different skill set, one that blends technical expertise with creativity and strategy. For those who can adapt, the future could be incredibly exciting, but for those who resist, the changes might be overwhelming. Then there's the question of how companies will restructure their teams. With AI taking on so much of the workload, development teams might become smaller but far more productive. Imagine a single AI system doing the work of several engineers, working tirelessly and without breaks. For businesses, that's an incredible opportunity to scale faster and cut costs. But for workers, it means fewer jobs and more intense competition for the roles that remain. It's a double-edged sword, one that could lead to incredible innovation, but also significant disruption. And let's not forget how this changes the very nature of software development. Traditionally, code bases have been static, something built piece by piece over time. But with AI, we're looking at a world where software could be dynamic, constantly adapting and evolving based on real-time needs. Instead of a human painstakingly writing and updating code, an AI system could generate and refine it on the fly, responding to new challenges or user demands instantly. It's thrilling, but also a little unnerving. Will humans even understand the code that AI generates as it becomes more advanced? How do we ensure that the systems we're building are secure ethical, and reliable if much of the work is done by machines? And who takes responsibility when something goes wrong? Because things will go wrong. These are the kinds of questions we need to grapple with as we enter this new era. When Zuckerberg talks about AI augmenting engineers, it sounds optimistic, and maybe it is, but it's also clear that this represents a fundamental shift in how we think about software and the people who create it. It's not just a technical change, it's a cultural one, a reimagining of what it means to build and innovate in the digital age.
But I don't know. I think that that'll augment the people working on it. So I mean, my view on this is like the future, people are just going to be so much more creative and are going to be freed up to do kind of crazy things. It goes back to, my daughter was like playing with Legos before and it kind of ran out of Legos. And then now she can have Minecraft and can build whatever she wants and it's so much better. It's just like, I think it's the future versions of this stuff are just going to be wild. But I think it's too early to know exactly how it plays out, but my guess is that it'll probably create more creative jobs than it...
Zuckerberg went on to make a fascinating point. He said that AI will free people up to be more creative. He even used the example of his daughter moving from playing with Legos to creating entire worlds in Minecraft. It's a powerful analogy, suggesting that AI will unlock new possibilities for creativity and innovation. And sure, that sounds amazing in theory, but let's step back for a moment and think about what this really means. If AI takes over foundational coding tasks, the ones that new engineers typically cut their teeth on, where do aspiring engineers gain experience? How do they develop their skills and build their careers if the foundational roles they need to grow into mid-level and senior positions no longer exist? This isn't just about jobs disappearing, it's about access to opportunities. Will this shift create more room for creativity, or will it deepen inequality by leaving behind those who don't have the resources or time to quickly adapt to this new paradigm? That's a serious concern, especially as AI continues to accelerate at a pace we've never seen before. Zuckerberg's optimism reminds me of past technological revolutions. Take farming, for instance. A century ago, most people were farmers because they needed to be. Over time, technology made farming more efficient, and now less than 2% of the population works in agriculture. That shift freed people up to take on new jobs in industry, services, and creative fields. But let's not romanticize it. The transition wasn't smooth. It came with upheaval, displacement, and a lot of people left behind before society caught up. And the AI revolution won't be any different. Yes, it will create opportunities for those who can leverage it, but there will also be disruptions for those who aren't prepared or don't have access to the right resources. It's exciting to think about a world where AI enhances creativity, where people can dream bigger and focus on more meaningful work. But at the same time, we need to plan for the challenges it brings. Who gets to benefit from this technology? Who will be left behind? These are the questions we need to address as we move forward into this new era.
Well, I guess if you look at the history of all this stuff, my understanding is like 100 years ago. I don't know if this was 100 or 150 years ago, but it was like at some point not too far along in the grand scheme of things, like the vast majority of people in society were farmers, right? Because they kind of needed to be in order to create enough food for everyone to survive. And then we turned that into an industrial process. And now it's like 2% of society are farmers and we get all the food that we need. So what did that free up everyone else to do? Well, some of them went on to do other things that are sort of like creative pursuits or cultural pursuits or other jobs. And then some percent of it just went towards recreation, right? So I think generally people just don't work as many hours today as they did back when everyone needed to farm in order to have enough food for everyone to survive. So I think that trend is sort of played out as technology is
Zuckerberg compared the AI revolution to the shift from farming to industrial work, where fewer people were needed in agriculture, freeing others for creative pursuits. While optimistic, this analogy oversimplifies things. The move from farming took decades, while AI is advancing at an exponential pace, automating cognitive tasks like coding and analysis. This speed and scale leave little time for workers to adapt, and not everyone has the resources to shift into creative or highly specialized roles. Plus, there's the question of equity. If AI tools remain controlled by a few, the benefits won't reach everyone, widening gaps in society. The AI revolution isn't just a continuation of past changes, it's fundamentally different. To ensure it works for everyone, we need to address its challenges head on and make its benefits accessible to all. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more on AI and tech. See you next time.